Murdoch Mysteries Season 19, Episode 5 begins like any other case. Until the evidence leads to a revelation no one could have predicted, the episode opens on a foggy Toronto morning. The city is quiet except for the distant hum of carriage wheels and the echo of police whistles. Detective William Murdoch arrives at a grim crime scene tucked away in an alley near Queen Street. A man lies motionless, his expression frozen in shock, his hand clutching something small, a silver pocket watch engraved with strange initials. The air is tense. Constable Crabtree tries to lighten the mood, but even his nervous humor can't hide the unease. Something about this case feels different, almost personal. As Inspector Brackenride barks orders, Murdoch kneels beside the body, his sharp eyes scanning every detail. No signs of robbery, he mutters. The victim's wallet remains untouched, his clothes expensive and his shoes polished. Julia Ogden, ever composed, joins him with her medical kit. He didn't struggle, she notes. Whoever did this wanted it clean. The mystery deepens. In the dim light of the alley, Murdoch's attention shifts to that pocket watch. He opens it carefully. Inside, a faded photograph of a woman stares back, her face hauntingly familiar. The engraving reads, "To J.H. with love always." See the initials strike a chord, but Murdoch can't place them yet. He pockets the clue quietly, unaware that this small object will unravel a web of lies stretching far beyond one man's death. Back at Station House No. 4. The team begins piecing together the victim's identity. His name, Jonathan Harker, a local businessman with a reputation for charm and secrets. According to his records, Harker was involved in importing rare goods from Europe, though many of his shipments had been flagged for suspicious contents. Murdoch suspects smuggling. But Julia's autopsy tells a darker story. The victim was poisoned before his body ever hit the ground. The pacing quickens as Murdoch uses his trademark inventions to analyze the toxin. The lab hums with gears and glass tubes, steam rising like breath in winter air. This compound isn't common, he explains. It's been modified by someone with knowledge of chemistry. His mind races through possibilities. Could this be industrial sabotage? Revenge? Or something far more personal? Meanwhile, Crabtree discovers a lead witness saw a woman in a dark coat leaving the alley moments before the body was found. The detail sparks curiosity. Murdoch recalls the woman's face in the photograph. Could it be the same person? The tension rises, but instead of answers, every clue raises new questions. As night falls, Murdoch stands by his chalkboard, mapping connections. Names, motives, and timelines intertwine like a spider's web. Julia watches silently, sensing his unease. "You look troubled," she says softly. Murdoch nods. Every fact fits, but the picture doesn't make sense. It's that intuition, the gut feeling that something's off, that drives him deeper. He doesn't yet know that this case will force him to question not just the evidence, but his own beliefs about truth and loyalty. The first act ends with a chilling moment. Murdoch receives a sealed letter delivered anonymously to the station. Inside is only a photograph, the same woman again, but this time she's standing beside Murdoch himself. His face, her smile, and a handwritten note that reads, "You should have left the past buried." The camera lingers on Murdoch's expression, shocked, confused, and deeply disturbed. The music swells, signaling that what began as a routine murder case has just become something far more dangerous and personal. The next morning, a cold mist blankets Toronto. Inside the police station, the air feels heavier than usual. The photograph from the anonymous letter sits on Murdoch's desk, the edges worn as if handled too many times. He stares at it in silence. Julia enters, her voice gentle but concerned. "William, who is she?" Murdoch hesitates before answering. "Her name is Clara Henderson. We knew each other a long time ago." The name hangs in the air like smoke. Julia's expression hardens slightly, not out of jealousy but worry. Murdoch's past rarely resurfaces without trouble, and this case is already showing signs of danger. As the investigation deepens, Murdoch learns more about the victim, Jonathan Harker. He wasn't just a businessman. He was a broker for information, a man who traded secrets as easily as he traded goods. His files reveal transactions involving several high-profile names, including government officials and industrial magnates. Someone powerful had a reason to silence him. And that silver pocket watch? It turns out to be custom-made by a jeweler who only serves private clients, one of them being Clara Henderson. Crabtree and Higgins are sent to question the jeweler, but they return shaken. The shop was broken into the night before. Records burned, tools stolen, the owner missing. It's as if someone wanted to erase every trace of her existence, Crabtree mutters. Murdoch frowns. The pattern is too clean, too deliberate. Someone is one step ahead. Later, in the morgue, Julia uncovers another unsettling clue. She finds traces of a rare compound in Harker's bloodstream, a formula used in experimental anesthesia developed years ago. The catch? It was designed by Clara Henderson back when she worked at the Toronto Chemical Institute. Murdoch realizes the implications instantly. Clara isn't just connected to the case. She might be the key to solving it. Murdoch visits the institute, now closed for the evening. The caretaker reluctantly allows him inside. Dust covers the old laboratory tables, and the faint smell of chemicals lingers in the air. Murdoch finds a ledger hidden behind a cabinet, filled with notes in Clara's handwriting. One entry catches his eye. Test compound successful. Subject refused dosage. Complications must dispose discreetly. The handwriting shakes slightly, as though written in panic. Meanwhile, Inspector Brackenride pressures Murdoch for results. The press has caught wind of the murder, and rumors of police incompetence spread fast. "We need answers, Murdoch," he growls. "Not science fiction?" But Murdoch's intuition tells him the science is the answer. He uses his custom spectroscope to compare the toxin from Harker's body with samples from Clara's formula. The match is undeniable. Just as Murdoch prepares to confront Clara, a mysterious envelope arrives addressed to him personally. Inside, a single sentence written in bold ink: "You can't solve a crime that never happened." The message chills him. Someone isn't just covering up a murder, they're rewriting the truth itself. Murdoch begins to question everything. Was Jonathan Harker truly killed? Or was his death staged to hide something greater, something tied to his own past? The pressure mounts as the boundaries between memory, science, and deception blur. As the section closes, Murdoch stands by the dim glow of his lamp, staring at the photograph once more. The woman beside him, Clara, smiles with the warmth of trust. But in the present, that same smile feels like a mask. His voice lowers, barely above a whisper. "Clara, what have you done?" The faint tick of the pocket watch echoes in the silence. Marking the moment, Murdoch realizes this isn't just another case, it's a ghost from his past coming back to haunt him. Rain lashes against the windows of Station House No. 4 as night falls over Toronto. The thunder outside feels like a warning, the kind that comes before something irreversible. Murdoch stands by the window, his reflection ghostly against the glass. The evidence points to Clara Henderson, but his heart resists the conclusion. Once, she was his colleague, even his friend. But now, every path leads to her. Crabtree bursts into the room, holding a damp telegram. "Sir, we found her address. Henderson's been staying at an abandoned townhouse on Wellington Street." Murdoch wastes no time. Moments later, he's stepping out into the storm, the gas lamps flickering along the streets. The rhythmic clatter of his footsteps echoes through the empty alleys until he reaches the dark, crumbling house. Inside, the air is thick with dust and secrets. Murdoch's lantern casts long, trembling shadows across the walls. On a desk near the center of the room, rows of chemical bottles glisten faintly. A makeshift lab. He runs his fingers across the glass, recognizing her meticulous handwriting on the labels. Then a voice, soft and steady, cuts through the silence. "I knew you'd find me, William." Clara steps out from the shadows, calm but weary, her eyes reflecting both defiance and regret. Murdoch's voice trembles slightly. "Why, Clara? Why kill Harker?" She smiles faintly. "Kill him? You misunderstand. I saved him." Her words strike him like lightning. She explains that Harker was never the victim. He was part of a government experiment gone wrong. They were testing a nerve agent, one capable of inducing death-like paralysis. When Harker threatened to expose them, they turned on him. Clara helped him fake his death, using her chemical compound. The body in the alley? A substitute, another man altered to look like Harker. Through crude surgical work, Murdoch's logical mind struggles to keep up. "That's impossible," he says, though his voice betrays uncertainty. Clara steps closer, holding up a vial of translucent liquid. "This," she says softly, "makes the impossible very real." Before he can respond, she places the vial down gently. "They're watching me, William. They know you're here, and they'll stop at nothing to erase the truth." Her hands shake as she reaches into her coat, pulling out a small notebook. "Take this. Everything you need to know is inside. But once you open it, there's no going back." Just as she hands him the notebook, the door bursts open. Two men in dark coats storm in, pistols drawn. Clara shouts for Murdoch to run, but a shot rings out before she can move. She collapses, her blood staining the floor. Murdoch dives behind a table, returning fire just long enough to grab the notebook and flee into the rain outside. Drenched and breathless, he looks back to see the townhouse engulfed in flames. Whoever those men were, they've already begun erasing evidence. The weight of the notebook feels immense in his hand, the final secret of a woman who once trusted him. Back at the station, Murdoch opens the book slowly. Inside are chemical formulas, coded notes, and sketches of faces, including his own. One page reads, "He doesn't remember." Another line, written hastily, "They used him too." The realization hits hard. This isn't just about Harker or Clara, it's about Murdoch himself. Somehow, his past with Clara ties into the experiment. His memory of her, of their time together, may not be real. The lines between fact and fabrication blur completely. Murdoch's hand trembles as he closes the notebook. His world, once built on evidence and reason, now feels like an illusion crafted by unseen hands. The storm outside roars louder, as if echoing the chaos in his mind. "If she was right," he whispers, "then the real mystery is me." The lantern flickers, the light barely holding. The episode's twist lands like a silent explosion. Clara wasn't the villain. She was the warning. And the truth she died to protect is far more dangerous than murder, the fire that consumed. Clara's hideout still burns in Murdoch's memory. Hours have passed since the explosion, but the smell of smoke and chemicals clings to his clothes. He sits alone in his office, the dim lamp casting a weak circle of light across his desk. The notebook lies open before him, its pages warped by rain, its ink smudged like fading memories. Every word feels heavier than the last. Julia enters quietly, her footsteps soft against the floor. She looks at him, his shoulders tense, his eyes hollow, and knows this isn't just another case. "You haven't slept," she says gently. Murdoch doesn't answer. Instead, he traces a line of text on the notebook with his gloved finger. "They used him too." His voice is low, almost a whisper. "Julia, what if the person I've always believed myself to be isn't real?" Julia steps closer, placing a hand on his shoulder. "William, don't lose yourself to ghosts. Whatever Clara did, whatever they did to you, it doesn't erase who you are now." But even she can hear the uncertainty in her own words. Murdoch's mind, always the sharp instrument of logic, now feels fractured, split between science and fear. Later that night, Murdoch returns to the burned remains of the townhouse. The rain has stopped, but the air hums with silence. The charred walls stand like black skeletons against the mist. He kneels near the ashes where Clara fell, brushing away debris until he finds a small, half-melted locket. Inside is another photograph, Murdoch and Clara together, both smiling, but this one is different. In this photo, Murdoch wears a uniform he doesn't recognize. The insignia reads Dominion Research Division. His pulse quickens. That organization hasn't existed for nearly 2 decades. He pockets the locket and rises, his thoughts spinning. Clara had been telling the truth. There had been experiments, scientific studies conducted under the guise of patriotism. Subjects whose memories were altered, rewritten, erased. Murdoch realizes with chilling clarity that he might have been one of them. Back at the station, Brackenride calls him in. Murdoch, I've just received word from the higher-ups. This case is closed, officially. Murdoch stiffens. Closed? But there are too many questions unanswered. The inspector sighs, looking uneasy. Orders from above. You're to drop it immediately. There's something in Brackenride's eyes, something that says he doesn't like it either, but the chain of command is iron. When everyone leaves for the night, Murdoch locks the doors and pulls out the notebook again. He spreads Clara's formulas across the desk, cross-referencing chemical structures with his own research. Slowly, a pattern emerges, one that connects not just to Harker's case but to several unexplained deaths over the past year. Every formula traces back to a single source, a project codenamed Obsidian, and listed among the project's early participants. William Murdoch, the revelation sends a chill through him. Could his genius, his inventions, even his moral compass have been influenced by something buried deep within his past? The man who has always relied on truth now faces the possibility that his own mind has deceived him. As dawn breaks, sunlight filters through the blinds, cutting across his face in sharp lines. Julia finds him still at his desk, staring at the last page of the notebook. Written in Clara's hand are the final words. When the truth finally finds you, don't run from it. Use it. Murdoch closes the book slowly, his expression unreadable. Outside, the city begins to stir, the sound of carriages, distant chatter, life moving on. But inside Station House No. 4, everything feels different. The detective known for his reason and faith in science now stands at the edge of something far greater. A mystery that doesn't end with a case file, but begins within himself. He looks out the window, the morning light reflecting off his eyes. The truth, he murmurs, isn't always the answer. Sometimes it's the beginning. The faint ticking of the pocket watch returns one last time, steady, relentless, echoing into silence as the screen fades to black. End title: Murdoch Mysteries, Season 19, Episode 5, The Twist No One Saw Coming.